Okay, yeah, guys, so let's get going. As I said, we're just going to be doing regular market analysis, going over the major markets and seeing what potential setups that we actually do have and how we can take advantage of those. Okay. Now, first off, I'd like to kick it off as usual with the euro dollar, right? The euro dollar, we're looking at it on the 30-minute time frame right now. Okay. If you're looking at it now, obviously it might seem like some sideways consolidation is going on, but over the long run, over the long term, I've been going short on the euro dollar, and I'm still keeping my bias to actually go short on the euro dollar up until I get some sort of a upward trending market confirmation, for example. So let's say on the 4 hour, right? Looking at the 4 hour on the daily, right? On the daily time frame, you can see that the market is headed downwards, right? Like I said, it's a downward trend. And for me, I haven't seen anything significant in terms of support aside from this level over here, which is 108.32, right? 108.32. And that for me is a really solid looking support structure. So I would expect the market to continue this downward spiral for about the next, I don't know, 200 or so pips, 198. Okay, so before we see another rejection. Now I'd love to see a breakout firstly in order to commit to the position on the downside. You see the actual market structure looks pretty solid, right? Previous support structure. Previous support structure, boom, boom, boom. The market broke below, right? Came back to retest the area, and we should, right? If the market has any sense, of which we can't guarantee that it does, but we should have somewhat of a downward week this week on the euro dollar. Okay. So that would be my expectation. So if you're looking at the 200 EMA as well, market broke above that, then quickly pulled back in, right? Tagged initially the previous week's high and just demolished it with the second push to the upside and then pull back in again, right? We are still within the range, so we could see another rise to these highs, of which we'll look for a short opportunity, right? While the market is still ranging sideways, obviously you can trade both directions, but for me, I'd be more toward the short side than the long side, and definitely we'll be looking at those opportunities for coming days, right, on the euro dollar. That would be certainly what I'd be looking for, right? So if we go through to that euro JPY, right, rather the USD JPY, okay. Right, the USD JPY has been in somewhat of a sideways or sort of like a flag. We had a bit of a flag for a bit, I think for about a few months or so. Okay. And the market wasn't breaking out on either part, on either the upside or the downside. If we can see the last sort of like bit of action which came in, it was somewhere around 104.72. The market spiked that previous low. I think this is last year's low, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is last year's low. The market came in, boom, spiked that low from last year, which was what really set me up for my long bias on the USD JPY temporarily. Okay, now I would say that before we break any significant highs, for example 109.32, right, that would be somewhat of a significant high, and of course the big one, if we get to 12.133, then we are looking at some momentum going on the upside. Okay, so certainly I wouldn't be looking at any short opportunities right now, okay, based off the price action right from these lows over here. I would expect the market to pull back higher, right? Even if it's just to play within the range that's been going on since last year. But I'm certainly looking at the market pushing to the upside for the next couple of days, okay? So even on the 1 hour time frame, you can see the beginning of the week, market made this low, which was sort of spiked this previous swing low point somewhere around here. I think the price is okay 107.50, right? So 107.50, big figure, and the market just spiked right through it, and is looking to make those small consistent candles in one direction, which is really for me a decent sign that we could be heading upwards. The trend could be there could be a continuation of the trend to the upside. Obviously, we'll have to wait for a pullback in the right direction, right? So, meaning, we'd like to see the market swing low, probably a spike below this 107.50 level, okay, or get a significant break above, let's say, last week's high. Okay, so from last week's high, this is last week's high. You can see the market just spiked above it, came back in, right? And it's usually a matter of false breakouts, right? You see these candles spiking above the previous week's high, and then the market comes back in. And so, easiest way to trade this sort of setup would be either you wait, you look for a full body candle that closes above this 108.25 level, or a return to that price again. Okay. Right, so return to that price again. I think it did happen for the past 2 weeks on the USD JPY, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, breakout, and the market came back to retest. So something that looks similar to this, right? That rejection candle, right? So this candle would trigger the buy for you in this example. And in the previous example, in the previous week, the close of this candle after the market rejected price would trigger the buy for you in this in that particular example. So you don't just want to wait for a spike above the high or the candle hasn't closed yet and you're looking to buy the market. You have to wait for something to develop in the close above previous week's high, pull back into that particular zone, and then the market would shift in the right direction. So that's certainly what would be more appealing for us in terms of going long on the USD JPY. Okay, USD CHF. Right, if you're looking at the dollar franc, okay, there. I mean, you can see what the market has been doing here. Right, we have been in ranging mode. The market has been ranging sideways. However, I mean, this is a pretty big range. This is certainly a big range. If we throw it on the, okay, this is about 1,000 pips, no, 10,000. So certainly something worth, I mean, even this year's range so far. So the year's range is about, I don't know, 500 pips. And last, from 2016 to 2017, it's about 1,148, the entire range. So it's actually been a pretty decent range. And now, if you're looking at current market action, right, we did have the swing low, boom, at this level, which is 96.90. Okay, so around 9,700, right? So around 9,700, we had multiple swing lows, right, around the beginning of August, and the market just started to shift away slowly. Now, if you're looking at the daily time frame, if you're looking at the daily chart, we have another low, which is at 9,500. We'll just say 9,500 there, and another solid support structure comes in at 91.86. Okay, and in resistance, you're looking at 1023, and probably around this area, because it looks like the previous area as well, which is sort of like parity, so it's one even, right? So I'd love to see the market come in, tag that one even level at least, right? So I'd like to see a push on the upside on the USD CHF. Now, I'd be more I'd be a bit wary of previous month's high, right? So the previous month's high, and would wait for somewhat of a break on the upside above this previous week's high for the safer position, right? For the safer trade, break above, come back, market retests, and we'd go long, right? You'd have to protect somewhere around that E1 even level. Okay, so that's about 50 or so pips. You'd have to start protecting because I do feel like we could have a pullback. Now, technically, it looks like we're going to have an aggressive pullback. It might be 50% of this particular move, and then the market may continue to the upside to 1023, which is then obviously going to give us some really decent setup long term. So, but I have to wait for the break above, or if you if you can't wait for that break above, certainly that 50, 61 or 62% Fibonacci retracement area, so it's about 98.50, so at 98.50, if the price action agrees, you got your moving average as well in there, then you certainly could have a really decent trade setup going long on the USD CHF. So that is my bias for now. And on the GBP USD, okay, now the pound dollar, I mean, it has been on a decline, and we had this particular level, right? Right now, this move obviously did show us, or was sort of like a hint that the market could pull up on the upside, because if you see a pretty significant support structure like this, right? So 2016, around 2016, that low. A lot of orders on the downside, right? This is also a big figure as well. So round number, I think it's 120. Yeah, so around 120. And there's probably a lot of sell orders on the downside. So that swing to the downside probably activated a lot of those orders. And the market has made a pullback of about close to 500, well, exactly 500 pips. Okay. Now we see a really good support structure, which from this previous level, which is about 2470. Boom, the market came back and swung to the upside, and then it actually broke the support structure and came back, and looks like it just retested that structure over there. Okay, so for me, I mean, there's not much that I can do at this particular point. I'd love to see the market break below probably the previous week's low, or the swing low, because this is the nearest swing low that we actually have, and probably come back to retest that low and continue the move to the downside. Because I'm still short bias on the GBP USD. Okay, still short bias on the GBP USD up until I see the market break very significant levels on the upside. Okay, so if we do get a pullback, which starts breaking something like these major structures on the upside, then I might change my bias long term. But short term, I'm certainly looking at shorting on the GBP USD on condition, obviously, that we get a break below a nice swing point and a retest of that area over there. Okay, and lastly, but certainly not least, we have the Australian dollar, US dollar. Okay, if we go on through to the weekly or the monthly, we can see that we have a very bearish looking market. Okay. And for the last couple of weeks, I mean, it's just been hammering to the downside. So I certainly wouldn't be looking at any buy opportunity, because if you went on this alone as an premise to actually buy, then your market or the trade itself. So let's say, because I know some people actually do take this, let's say the candle close, which was about 200 plus pips, as a signal to go long, right, to these highs over here, which is about 1,000 pips or so. But obviously, if you did, worst case scenario, you will draw down on about 400 and something pips. Now it's like 300 pips or so. So certainly not the best thing to do with to actually lead into a position without any sort of real confirmation. But I would say that I'm still short on the Australian dollar, US dollar. And if you check out the swing high through to the swing low over here, we have that 50 to about 60% Fibonacci retracement. I would love to see the market touch at least the swing high, the swing low area here. Right, area looks really decent. Okay, so the market missed that by about 15 pips or so. Okay, there could be plenty of reasons for that, but I'm still not comfortable in actually taking the short on this one. I'd love to see the market pull up to the upside, probably tag that 800 EMA as well. That's hovering around there, and then push to the downside as well. I mean, we got a pretty decent range on this one, so risk reward also would be really good. So it's about close to 220 pips, right? So you probably take off 10 or 20 pips, so 200 pips in total, and stop loss of around 50 or 60 pips at most. So it's pretty decent risk reward on this particular trade if you wait for it. However, if it does just run away from us, obviously we'd like to see a swing low being broken and the market comes back to retest. But on that retest, obviously we can get into the market with the long side on the short side. Okay, all right, guys. Any questions there? Any markets you want us to go over? Okay. All right, so if there aren't any questions, I will see you guys later today at 7 p.m. sharp. All right, so 7 p.m. today sharp. I'm not going to be with the advanced guys. It's probably going to be a bit of a brief session, and I'll be sharing a lot of stuff there that you guys can use on a day-to-day basis just to sort of like make your trading a bit more efficient, a bit more profitable, and take a lot less time. Right. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, let's make some money, guys. Cheers.